Breaking Bad, considered by many the best TV show of all time. Personally, I don't agree. Hannah Montana beats Breaking Bad any day of the week.
You're goddamn right.
Nonetheless, it's a great show. If you're not familiar with the show, Breaking Bad is set in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and it follows the life of Walter White, a high school chemistry teacher who found out he has lung cancer.
You've got mustard.
Before he dies, he wants to provide financial support for his family, but he can't do that by teaching chemistry. He has to actually do chemistry, and he does it by cooking methamphetamine with his partner Jesse.
It's just basic chemistry, yo.
Today he would only need to become an Instagram guru who sells worthless programs on how to get rich. They cook the purest meth on the market, and for whatever reason, pure supposedly means blue.
What?
Nonetheless, it's good shit and everyone wants it.
Tight, yeah!
There's one thing that bugged me for a long time. Jesse is supposedly a meth addict for the entire show, but he still has his perfect teeth. He even gets beat up a few times, but none of the teeth are even slightly ruined. He must have paid all his meth money for his dentist. Another interesting fact about him is that he uses the word bitch as a full stop to the sentence.
This is my own private domicile and I will not be harassed! Bitch!
It really makes everything he has to say stand out. You really wouldn't take him serious otherwise. I'm advising everyone that's watching this video to start doing the Jesse Pigment technique. You'll be surprised how far it will get you. This show is very intense and very serious. It's filled with violence and family issues. Walter transitions from this polite and calm high school teacher to a crazy cold-blooded maniac. That's what happens when you shave your head. Your whole personality changes. Just look at Joe Rogan.
Octagon, and I'll also be previewing the...
But even though the show isn't supposed to be funny, some of the scenes just want to make you burst out laughing. Especially the Walter and Jesse duo. One is a genius and the other one has lung cancer. But seriously, the contrast between these two characters is comedy gold. In the second season, their RV battery died out because Jesse left the keys in the ignition for 2 days. He then accidentally spills the gasoline over the generator, which causes it to burst to flames when he attempts to power it up. Basically, Jesse is doing stupid mistakes while Walter is trying to fix them. If that's not a comedy show, I don't know what is. After Jesse ruined their chances of ever living in an RV, Walt tries to save them by building a battery for the RV, which sparks one of the best representations of Jesse's ingenuity.
What are we building? You said it yourself. Robot?
The look on his face says it all. Jesse was prepared to live out his childhood dream. On the other hand, the teacher and Walt died a little, and in the same episode, as Walt is building the battery, he wants to give a little chemistry lesson to his best student. He asks Jesse, which element should I use to conduct the current with? Clearly hinting at the element he's holding in his hand. Jesse's response kills every hope of Walter ever going back to teaching.
Liar.
I think he was just stating his favorite TV show, completely oblivious on what's going on at the moment. Later on in the show, Jesse was having dinner with Walt and his wife Skylar. I got to admit, even I felt a little bit uncomfortable watching the scene. I can't imagine how Jesse must have felt. While Jesse was talking about frozen food and advertisements, Skylar was talking about her affair with another man. Jesse's reaction was directly out of a comedy movie, looking around for any help he could get. And remember, my boy Jesse was in some serious shit up to this point in the show, but I bet he would rather be kidnapped by Tuco than having to spend another minute at this table. To make things funnier, both Walt and Skylar were drinking alcohol while Jesse was slurping on his water. Basically, this created an illusion that Jesse is a kid of 2 unhappy parents that is trying everything in his power to make things right. Jesse and Walter are just perfect for a comedy show. Take a scene where they take Saul Goodman to the desert, for an example. They are trying to act tough and dangerous, but as soon as Saul finds out they aren't sent by Lalo, he's not even slightly scared of them. I mean, with their Mario and Luigi color combinations, I probably wouldn't be afraid either. To top it all off, Walt coughs, and Saul immediately recognizes who that is. For a smart man, he's not very good at disguising himself. Like, look at them. They look like they just fell out of a Trailer Park Boys episode. I also loved how Walt had the best fuck you in film history.
Fuck you.
It's not particularly funny, but I love that when he's expressing anger towards a person he doesn't really like, his go-to phrase is fuck you. And it's said with such a high amount of passion, you would think he's getting an award for deliverance. Like for an example, when he quit his job at the car wash, Bogdan asked him to give him a helping hand outside. And it was in that moment when Walter decided to quit. What do you think he said to Bogdan?
Fuck you, Bogdan.
To make things even better, he even said fuck you to Bogdan's eyebrows.
And your eyebrows!
I mean, with them being that big, they could really be living creatures, so it's fair to assume their feelings were hurt by Walt and his words. We can't forget about Saul and Hank. They are both pretty funny in their own ways, and when two such big characters meet, you know it's going to be great television. Hank made a joke about Saul's commercials. But what he didn't expect is Saul's comeback.
She better act in an epileptic whorehouse.
Is that like the one your mom works at? Is she still offering the 2-for-1 discount?
Saul made him rethink all of his life choices that led him to this moment. I mean, if you make fun of a man's commercials, you have to be prepared for some yo mama jokes. Considering we are at the topic of Hank being humiliated, let's talk about the time when Tio Salamanca came to DEA with some very important information. Obviously he can't talk, so he's using his bell and an alphabet to spell out what he wants to say. Everyone is waiting with anticipation on what information he wants to share. It's a room full of cops. The suspense is at an all-time high. It ends up being suck my before being interrupted. That's a bit rude. Let the man finish his thoughts. They gave him a second chance, and this one is absolutely on them. Did they really think in those 5 seconds he became a good citizen that wants to help the DEA? Maybe I'm quick to judge. Let's see what this cartel member has to say. Oh, he's trying to spell Walter's favorite phrase. Him looking at Hank straight in the eyes for the whole time makes this a lot funnier. You just know this man had a blast doing this. Even when leaving, he couldn't take his eyes off Hank. Then he winked at him. Maybe he was actually serious about that first sentence. Even though he got outplayed by Saul and Hector, Hank is still one of my favorite characters. If it wasn't for that Saul scene, I think he should be the one getting a spin-off. He's a very cool, bold man. He's a master at multitasking. At the same time, he can talk to his wife on the phone and take care of some dealers.
I'm back, babe. What's up?
The man should be the next Vin Diesel. Just look how cool he walks. The man is a machine. His jokes makes everyone jump out of their seats with laughter.
Hey, no DEA, please,
All in all, it's a surprisingly funny show. There's a big number of scenes and characters I haven't even mentioned, but this is more than enough to prove it. Just like the cases with Sopranos, it's often not supposed to be funny, but when you look at some scenes from a different perspective, they're absolutely hilarious.
Bitch!